please, a very warm welcome for my man, Bobby Knauff.
Yay! All right. Let's deal with these before we start. There we go. It's a nice one. I made one for you, too. There you go. I'm only up here for like 8 to 10 minutes and watch what's going to happen. It's going to connect at the top. Yep. Yeah, I am not taking care of myself. I also hurt myself a lot. I've broken my collarbone, dislocated it, broken my wrist, cracked my skull open, tore some ligaments, my ACL. Yeah, it's a lot of bad stuff. The worst one, probably the wrist. Because when you do that as an adult man, you get no sympathy. If you're a child or a woman, people are like, oh, how did that happen? But when you're an adult man and you break your wrist, question you get from everybody is like, you do that jerking off? Everybody, your friends, family, bus driver, chuckling away. And I'm always like, at first you're like, yeah, and you walk away, and then it kind of drives you nuts after the 20th time, and you're like, where was I jerking off? In a steel mill? Like, what is happening? Like, whoa! Like, why did I get so aroused when I was in here? And if I did hurt myself jerking off and something had to be in a cast, wouldn't it be my genitals in the cast? You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't that and this isn't it, then I should be walking around proud like, yeah, this is rock hard. Like, ladies, you better be wet. It breaks wrists. Like, the actual worst one, though, pain-wise in surgery, was tore my ACL, my meniscus. Yeah, stuff I didn't know I had. Because when you hurt yourself as an adult, the doctor comes into the room and speaks to you as if you have their medical degree. The doctor comes in and is like, okay, Mr. Knauff, looks like you've torn your ACL and your meniscus, so we're going to have 2 surgeries. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that is. How about you leave the room, come back in, and pretend I'm 7, you know? Be like, hey there, big guy. Your knee doesn't do this anymore. Like, okay, I can follow that. I don't know what's in there, ACL, BLT, just fix it. Like, and the wordings doctors use always blow my mind, because I've hurt myself a lot, so I've dealt with a lot of these situations. And the doctor was like, well, the good news is, Bobby, that it's a perfect tear. It's a perfect tear. So we just go in there, and I'm like, perfect, that's not a word. You know what would be perfect? If I was doing that right now. So how about that doesn't enter your vocabulary for the next while? And then the other wording, too, always amazed me. He's like, well, the MRI suggests that you've torn both your ACL and your meniscus. So it suggests that. So we're going to go in, do one surgery, and see how bad the damage. And I was like, whoa, suggests. I was in that tube for 45 minutes. I suggest you use another machine. I don't even think it was working. It was just like, bah, 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 bah. Like, we should be going on something better than suggestions. And if anyone's ever hurt themselves, you know this when you have surgery. Sometimes this happens to you like it happened to me. The doctor comes in with med students. That's not when you want a bunch of jazzed up kids. In that moment where you're feeling vulnerable and you got 5 kids behind the doctor high-fiving like, it's a perfect tear. And it just threw my whole worldview for a loop. Because it made me realize anytime we, the common people, are doing something that we don't want to hurt ourselves doing, there's like 50 med students in the vicinity just being like, yeah, take that left turn, you don't need to check your blind spot today. Don't go too fast, I want to watch you heal. Like, it's wild to me. And heard it, torn the ACL and the meniscus, had to have a couple different surgeries. And the doctor asked, before going in for the first surgery, okay, Mr. Knauff, looks like everything's ready here, but just a quick question. Are you an organ donor? An organ donor? That's a weird question. I'm the one going in for... That's basically the doctor saying, look, I might have an off day, and you look pretty healthy, we're going to cut you up and give you away. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I became an organ donor. Where are my organ donors in the crowd tonight? Organ donors. Guess what? You can lie. I'm not checking your cards. You can just pretend you're a good person by going, yeah. Such a funny thing. I don't know why everyone isn't an organ donor. What a weird thing to get, like, oh, I'm dead? No, this is mine. No, you can't have it. I'm going to go bury it over here. Oh, you're going to dig it up? I'm going to go burn it. Put it in a little urn. Haha, not for you. Like, what? What a weird time to get greedy as a human being. Unless you've, like, damaged it all and you're like, look, you put this in you, you're going to die faster. Like, I don't even know how I'm alive right now. And become an organ donor. It's a very easy thing to do. You just have to die, and there you go. But when I became an organ donor, and those of you know who, if you are one, they give you a list and what you don't want to give away. What? Who is getting choosy at that point? Like, who's looking at this list like, oh yeah, take my heart, take my liver, but ooh, don't take my eyes. How am I gonna see heaven? Like, so stupid, just give it all away. Such a dumb thing to decide on. Like, But as you know, like I said, there's only 8 things on this list. It's the ones we all know about, you know what I mean? Like heart, liver, lung, bone, skin, all that stuff. And I'm looking at eyes, and I'm looking at this with my eyes, and I'm like, okay, there's only 8 body parts on here. Like, look, I know I didn't know what an ACL was, but I know there's more than 8 body parts. I'm looking at them right now. What's going on? And they're just ignoring me. They're just like, he's gonna die. We're gonna cut him up and give him away tomorrow. Don't worry. And so I'm high on morphine in the hospital, just being like, no, is there another list? Oh, don't worry, I got a pen, I'll just start adding them. First one, obviously, because I'm a moron, a comedian. First one on there, dick. There we go. Dick. Don't worry, I put the medical term in brackets so the doctor knows. Cock. There we go. Oh, he put cock. I know what he means. Okay, I know what he means. And I didn't check the box, everybody. I didn't put it on there and check it off like, ooh, don't take it. Leave that on there. I left that box wide open. Let's get this into some new boxes. You know what I mean? What? I kept it disease-free all these years. Barely anyone touched it. Why does it have to just go in the ground? Like, let's get this dick on a young buck. You know what I mean? That's a sentence that can only be used in this context. All right. You guys are ha-ha. Next. Okay. No time for water. And then after I had the surgeries or whatever, the doctor sent me for physio. That's always a good time when you're there. You know what I mean? Because you're in there with the physiotherapist. You got all these cool things around you, and you feel like you're in a Rocky training movie. You're like, yeah, I can do it. And he's like, you can do it. Yeah. And then you're all like sweating. You're like, yeah. And they say, okay, we'll meet in 2 weeks or 1 week, and you just have to do all of these things on your own. Come back, and we'll be working the progress. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. And I go home, and I just smoke a bong and watch Jurassic Park. Like, we're pretty close to this happening. Like, and I go back to the physiotherapist, and he's like, you've been doing your exercises? And what do? And probably the majority of you do. I lie to his face. I go, yep, doing them all the time. And he's like, oh, and he starts looking concerned because he's like, oh, if you are, you should be a little further. I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. So it's up to you. And he's like, oh, and what am I doing this for? To avoid 5 minutes of awkwardness. That's all, because if I'm honest and I tell him, like, oh, I'm not doing it, he's like, well, you got to, or you might have a thing. I'm like, you're right, let's get to it. That's all I'm trying to avoid. So that when I'm 45 and I have a permanent limp, I'll be like, well, at least it wasn't awkward for those 5 minutes. Win for Bobby. Like, but how I'm all good now because I'm Canadian and got that all taken care of. Canada likes to fix you up when you do something real bad and just needs one fix-up. Like, yeah, we got it. Best surgeons, here we go. Do. It's like, oh, I have mental health. Here's the MAID program. Okay. Little too dark. Winnipeg probably has the same sponsors, not getting in. Okay. But why I mention that is because how I've done the majority of these injuries are 2 ways: skiing and alcoholism. Yeah, I tore my ACL drunk dancing. Yeah. Yeah, because that commercial didn't exist when I was a kid. Don't drink and dance. Growing up in Canada, every time you watch a kid's show, there would just be in between all these like, hey, how's it going? Buy this, watch this. There'd be a guy sitting on a stool looking at the camera like, don't drink and drive. I lost my brother. And you're like, oh, okay. But if I just had one commercial guy sitting down being like, don't drink and dance. I had one too many shots, and I got on the table during Freebird and tore my ACL, my meniscus. Don't drink and dance. I would have been like, okay. But that commercial didn't exist, and Freebird came out. I'm like, here we go. Snap, crack, boom. Okay, those guys play a long song. That could have been Motley Crue, girls, girls, girls. I would have walked off that table, but those guys, okay. But I'm all sober now. I just celebrated 5 years sober. Yeah. Did it on my own with the help of other sober people. And here's a quick test if you're in the audience right now thinking like, I've hurt myself a few times. Maybe I have a drinking problem. Here's a quick, fast, easy test. Just go up to your main group of friends and you tell them, hey, everybody, I quit drinking. And then based on their reaction, we'll tell you if you have a drinking problem. That's it. It's fast, easy. You don't even actually have to quit drinking to do this test. So great, easy. Go up to your friends and be like, hey, everybody, I quit drinking. And if they're like, oh, cool, try to save some money, lose some weight, run a marathon or something, you're fine. Keep chugging away. You go up to your group of friends and you go, hey, everybody, I quit drinking. And they all simultaneously stand up and go, thank Christ. You got yourself a problem. And I'm Bobby Knauff. Have a great night, everybody.